The Apostle Paul, in his epistle to the Galatians, said this, "But even if we, or an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel to you than that which we have preached to you, let him be accursed. As we have said before, so now I say again, if anyone preaches any other gospel to you than that which you have received, let him be accursed." The great Baptist preacher John Gill explains this passage with these words, "Let him be ejected from the ministry of the word, degraded from his office, cast out of the church. Let him be no more a minister, nor a member of it. Let him be abhorred of men and accursed of Christ." Due to the abuses by the pontiffs of the Roman religion during the Middle Ages, many Christians today have overreacted and therefore neglected this example set by Paul. Hello, I'm Jerry Johnson, and I welcome you to this edition of Against the World. Most Bible-believing Christians have no problem recognizing that groups like the Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons have a different gospel. They do not tremble when these and other groups like them are labeled as non-Christian cults and their followers as lost. After all, the Jesus of the Watchtower isn't truly God. He is devoid of all deity according to their view. And the Jesus of Mormonism isn't unique in his nature. According to the LDS, Jesus is created and the spirit brother of Lucifer. So for most, it's a no-brainer. Most modern evangelicals agree with the creeds and confessions of the early church and the Reformation that the deity of Christ is an essential aspect of saving faith. This is why most of the controversies which embattled the church during the first 4 to 5 centuries of the Christian era centered around the question of Jesus' deity and humanity. But what about other issues like original sin? What about substitutionary atonement or double imputation? For nearly 2 millennia, the church recognized that a denial of any of these propositions was a denial of the biblical teaching that justification was by grace through faith and would, if denied, lead to works salvation. In fact, numerous councils and synods were called to deal with these very issues. Each one of these councils, following Paul's example, labeled these teachings heretical and their teachers and proponents as heretics. What did they mean by this? Echoing John Gill, Matthew Henry writes, "Paul was so fully persuaded of this that he pronounced an anathema upon those who would pretend to preach any other gospel. This will not justify our thundering out anathemas against those who differ from us in minor things, which, by the way, is what the Church of Rome was doing. It is only against those who forge a new gospel, who overturn the foundation of the covenant of grace by setting up the works of the law in the place of Christ's righteousness and thereby corrupting Christianity." Well, we couldn't agree more with Matthew Henry, nor John Gill for that matter. Debates over modes of baptism, the Lord's Supper, church government, and the like do not rise to the level of heresy. However, today, there is a desire to simply get along, to be nice. And so moderns have taken up the task of softening the words of the apostles and Christ, sometimes rejecting them outright. The cry often goes forth, "Can't we just all get along?" And anyone or any group which invokes the name of Jesus must be one of us. But does this stand to reason in light of these scriptures? "For I know this, that after my departure, savage wolves will come in among you, not sparing the flock. Also from among your own selves will men rise up, speaking perverse things, to draw away the disciples after them." Consider these words from the Apostle Paul in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 11. I believe the English Standard Version really captures the essence of Paul's concern. For he says, if someone comes and proclaims another Jesus than the one we proclaimed, or if you receive a different spirit from the one you received, or if you accept a different gospel from the one you accepted, you put up with it readily enough. You see, the Corinthians were tolerating subtle perversions to the gospel. And as Christ said, a little leaven leavens the whole lump. And if you have a different gospel, then by necessity you have a different Jesus and a different spirit. Like then, so it is now. Desiring to be perceived as nice and non-judgmental, Christians today opt for the fruit of our modern age. Have a nice day could very well be the motto of the modern church. Think about this. The English word nice comes from the Latin word meaning ignorant and oblivious. And I cannot think of a better moniker for the church today. Until next time, this is Jerry Johnson standing contra mundum against the world.